The Speaker, on behalf of the entire membership of the House of Representatives, offers House Resolution number 302, a resolution of tribute offered as a memorial for Maxine L. Berman, former member of the House of Representatives. Whereas the members of this legislative body were saddened to learn of the passing of former Representative Maxine L. Berman. A fierce advocate for women's rights and other social justice issues, she represented the people of Southfield and Lathrop Village with intelligence and integrity for 14 years in the Michigan House of Representatives. And whereas a native of the Detroit area, Maxine Berman began her career as a high school English teacher following her graduation from the University of Michigan. She became active in local political groups, working on a number of campaigns before she ran for state office herself. In 1982, she was elected for the first time to the Michigan House of Representatives. And whereas over the next 14 years, Maxine Berman was a strong and respected leader for what she believed was best for the people of Michigan. Outspoken, compassionate, and witty, she proudly fought for women's health rights, ensuring women with breast cancer were informed of their treatment options and received appropriate care. Early in her legislative career, she served as chair of the Elections Committee and on numerous other committees before moving to the Appropriations Committee. As a member of that committee and the Michigan House bipartisan team, she helped craft Michigan's current educational funding system. And whereas Maxine Berman remained an active force in Michigan politics and women's issues after her retirement from the House of Representatives. She founded her own political consulting firm, Capital Strategies Incorporated, and the Women's Health Network of Michigan. She served as Director of Special Projects under former Governor Jennifer Granholm and would become the first woman selected as the Griffin Endowed Chair in American Government at Central Michigan University. In 2015, she was inducted to the Michigan Women's Hall of Fame. Whereas Maxine Berman will be remembered as a woman who made a difference, whether within the walls of this chamber, the sanctuary of her synagogue, or the classrooms in which she taught. Maxine Berman touched the lives of many people for the better. Now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives that we offer this expression of our highest tribute to honor the memory of Maxine L. Berman, a member of this legislative body from 1983 to 1996, and be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be transmitted to the Berman family as evidence of our lasting esteem for her memory.
Would all members in favor of the memorial resolution please rise? The resolution is adopted.
Maxine Berman wrote a book during her time here in the male-dominated Michigan legislature, and she titled it, "The Only Boobs in the House Are Men." I figure that's the best place to start these remarks. She was the godmother, I think, for this reignited women's movement that's going on in this country, having blazed the path for today's activists. She was a female icon, she was a liberal icon, she was a Michigan icon. And she could be your best ally, but still would be somebody you didn't want to mess with. She once said, "Throw me to the wolves, and I'll return leading the pack." While she was one of my predecessors serving in our Southfield district, I did not get to know Maxine as my state representative. I was too young by the time she left office in 1996, and she was very quick to remind people that under term limits, she did not get termed out of office. She had one term left, and she was going to leave on her own terms. Instead, I first got to know Maxine in a very different context outside of politics, as a family friend, and as an active member of our synagogue, where we both served on our synagogue board years after her retirement. And I got a glimpse of what Representative Berman was like at some of those board meetings. We had very passionate debates about the renovation of our sanctuary, which she led a committee on. And she was just as outspoken on that mundane synagogue business as I had heard she was during the prominent political issues that the Michigan legislature faced during her service here. But aside being known for her quick wit and her assertive opinions, she was full of selfless compassion. When a Jewish person dies, the close members of that person's family say a prayer of mourning for a year after the person dies and on the anniversary of the person's death, as Maxine's sister Barbara will do. And we are still here commemorating Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, where 6 million Jews died, including 2 million children, children who left no descendants, whose parents are long gone, and have never had the proper opportunity to be religiously mourned. And Maxine organized our synagogue members to adopt young victims of the Holocaust, to say the annual morning prayer for them so that their memory would be honored under Jewish tradition. This is a mitzvah, a good deed, and it will never be known by the deceased and can never be repaid by the deceased. But Maxine helped to fulfill this honor. And that's the altruistic person that I knew, quietly serving our community years after she devoted herself in a very public way in service to our state and our district. And our religion was very important to her, so much so that during her time here in the House, she never participated in the invocation because she had this very firmly held belief in the separation of church and state. And there's this Maxine Berman lore in our district, and I had to fact check it with Gary Randall, who served at the same time as Maxine, and he tells me this story is true. And it was the very last day of session in 1996, and it was wrapping up for that legislative term, and it was becoming a late night because the House and Senate leadership were in conflict on a few remaining bills. I know that's hard to believe, Mr. Speaker. So 8 p.m. turned into 9 p.m., and 9 p.m. turned into 10 p.m., and this is the last day of session, and slowly it's getting 11 o'clock, and there's some murmuring on the House floor. We're going to have to start a new day of session here. And of course, as we know, with a new day of session comes a new invocation to start the day. So somebody got the idea, hey, Maxine's never given the invocation here before. Maybe this is finally her opportunity to come and say a few words to guide us through this last remaining hours of her legislative service and of our term here. So someone went up to Maxine and said, you know, this is your last chance. Do you want to give the invocation? Would you be interested at long last? And Maxine paused for a moment, and she shocked everybody by saying, yes, this is my last opportunity to offer some words of wisdom here. I'm going to take up that opportunity. And so at 11:59 p.m., an angered House, angered by the Senate, adjourned. And at 12:01 a.m., the Speaker goes up to the top of the rostrum, Maxine following the Speaker, and he bangs his gavel, and for the first time says, the House will come to order. The invocation today will be given by the Honorable Maxine Berman. And people are as silent as can be and are stunned, and she gets up there. She says, colleagues, would you please join me in a moment of prayer? And everybody bowed their heads. She said, dear Heavenly Father, bless this House and do whatever you want with the Senate. So I'm sure some of us also want to give that prayer on certain days here. So to Barbara Disner and your husband Marshall, we will miss Maxine dearly. She is like family to us in Democratic politics here in the Michigan House. She is like family to my personal family, and she has left behind so many wonderful jokes and stories and memories that will last a lifetime. So from our family here, we want to express to you our deepest condolences and let you know how much we will miss Maxine. And Mr. Speaker, we have obviously Maxine's sister, Barbara Disner, her husband, Marshall Disner, our Rabbi Rubenstein, are here today. And if you could help me welcome them here to the House today, that would be wonderful.
Representative, I can assure you that I would not know what conflict with the Senate is, okay? But with that, I would like to thank both of you for being here. Our hearts and prayers are with you today, and most importantly, I know this business and this job can come with a lot of sacrifice, particularly with family members, and we want to thank you for the sacrifice that you gave in allowing your sister to serve here. So with that, members, could we please welcome them to the House of Representatives today?